It's time to cover the GOAT of the MCU, where it all started. All of the legendary moments, fades, aura farming. It started with this movie and this man right here, Tony Stark. So it starts off with Tony getting escorted back to a military base in Afghanistan after demonstrating his brand new weapon of mass destruction called the Jericho. Like, look at this, bruh. Dude was aura farming before he even got the Iron Man suit. Like, if you don't move out the way, bruh, trying to be cool and shit. This flick was cold. The background was clean, the flick was cold. I'll give you your props, but I gotta call out the aura farming when I see it. But anyways, he's going across this dry ass desert. Just knowing what he did was cold as fuck. He even got this dude next to him scared to even look at him. Don't they call that conqueror's hockey or some shit? Or am I reaching? Tony like, yo, lil bro, you good? And then he asks him for a picture. A grown ass man asking another grown man for a picture. I can't stomach this shit, bruh. That wasn't me, bruh. I don't know who the fuck that was. So anyways, in the middle of them laughing and joking and having a good time, the military escort gets destroyed. Literally one by one, right in front of Tony's face. Like, you know how crazy that has to be if you were Tony in that moment? Like, look at what happened to this nigga. What type of gun was that? I know y'all see those bullet holes. So Tony gets out of the vehicle and tries to call for help when...
What is that? A bomb?
And his own missile blows a load in his face. Alright, my bad. That was OD. But he gets kidnapped, and the first thing he sees when this bag is taken off of his head is this. Y'all, look at how interested this dude looks in the camera. Bro, analyzing that shit. This is exactly how your own homeboys be if you get crossed up on the court. Like, I know that shit isn't that interesting, bruh. Calm your ass down. But yeah, my guy Tony is fucking cooked. Like, this literally has to be one of the top 5 worst situations of all time to be in. I would know because they captured me too, but I was able to escape.
Boy, if you don't get...
So Tony wakes up and he sees a random cave, a random dude that looks like Mr. Crocker from Fairly Odd Parents, and a whole ass car battery strapped to his chest. Like, what the actual fuck? Could you imagine carrying around this 50-pound box everywhere you went? That shit has to suck. But y'all already know that he has to have it to power this electromagnet in his chest that's keeping the shrapnel from stabbing him in the heart. Like, who even thinks of that? What kind of doctor goes around strapping car batteries to people's chest? I know it kept him alive, but is that the first method he thought of? There was no other option. But anyways, the people who captured Tony pulled up and was like, yeah, so you gonna make another Jericho for us? And Tony was like, fuck no. And he immediately starts getting tortured. Wait a minute, first of all, how do they know about the Jericho? I thought it was a test in a private military base. That's red flag number 1. But after Tony gets tortured, Tony pretends to agree to make the Jericho. This is why that torture shit don't work. Bro could just be straight capping just to get it to stop. Especially with Batman. And Tony was lying. But it's cool because they was capping about letting him go once he's finished with the missile. They both just lying to each other. This is how people who are in the worst relationships known to mankind be. But for some reason, they just never break up. One thing worth mentioning is that Tony notices that somehow in some way they have his weapons, which is important later. So Tony gets back to the cave, and at first, bro is just ready to snap his own neck. He depressed as shit. But this goated doctor right here dropped some cold ass bars to snap Tony out of it. Tony was like, bruh, it don't matter what I do. They're gonna kill me anyways. And even if they don't, I'm gonna die in a week from the shrapnel in my chest. And the doctor says, well then, this is a very important week for you, isn't it? Y'all know I just can't let some cold shit pass by without yapping about it, bruh. Y'all watching a channel called Chris Rich Yaps. But Tony locks in and has to solve 2 problems. Extend the battery life of his electromagnet and escape captivity. All in 1 week. So he goes on to create something that solves both of his problems at the same time. The miniaturized arc reactor. The very thing the people in the MCU are still trying to recreate to this day. In a cave in Afghanistan, bruh. Like, what? This also makes me wonder, what would Reed Richards do in this situation? Because his mind is even more broken and overpowered than Tony's. But anyways, after Tony makes the arc reactor, he gets to work on the Mark I suit. And the terrorists are watching the whole time. Look at this motherfucker trying to look tough. Bro, we are not scared of you. Especially the person watching this video. I know this person watching this video would get kidnapped for me, cause that's how close we are. I know you're ready, little bro, or little sis. Your time has come. But Tony Stark didn't give a fuck if they were watching. He's actively building the suit right in front of the cameras, testing the mechanics and shit. But just when he's getting the suit done, the soldiers come back down to check on him, and they get blown the fuck up. Damn, I'm trying to get blown the fuck up. Just minus the up part. My bad, bruh.
This is a sick Negro.
But the doctor realizes that there won't be enough time. So he goes and sacrifices himself like the goat he is in order to give Tony's suit enough time to activate. And it finally does. And he busts out of there, one-shotting everybody. Turn this shit into a horror movie for a second. But he makes it out of the cave, shoots these long-range ass flamethrowers, and flies out of there to escape. He's then rescued by the United States and brought back home. And the first thing he says he wants, after being held captive for 3 months straight, is a delicious cheeseburger. Bro, he's exactly like me. I could really fuck up a cheeseburger, yo. Like, tell me you don't want to take a bite of this delicious ass shit.
Preparing the Krabby Patty!
So after bro gets done devouring his cheeseburger, he tells the entire world that he's done making weapons for the military. And he starts customizing his drip for the Mark II suit. Bro got the all-chrome suit with a sleek design too, looking like a car straight out of Los Santos Customs. But after he almost dies again thanks to ice, he switches up the drip to the iconic red and yellow suit, the Mark III. Like, this has to be one of the coldest backstories in the MCU. Bro literally turned himself into a superhero. And he could have been an asshole or a villain too, but he remained dedicated to saving people. Props to Iron Man, bro. No glaze. So while this is happening, the terrorists get their hands on the Mark I armor after they found it in the desert. Like, damn, bruh, y'all are that horny to get your hands on some Stark tech? It's never that serious. But we also find out that Tony Stark's main business partner, Obadiah Stane, was still selling weapons behind his back. And that's not even the bad part. He was selling weapons to the exact people that kidnapped him. Like, what the actual fuck? So Tony hits this clean ass pose, just dripping with aura on his couch before he goes in his brand new Iron Man suit to go handle the terrorists. Like, you know how clean that is? Like, look at the way he hit this pose, bruh. Listen, excuse the glaze. Just let me have this, please. But just a few moments ago, he was learning how to fly, and he was fucking up. And now he's moving like this? So he handles this whole squad with ease, which alerts the US military. And it is officially the first time the world becomes known of Iron Man. So Stane sees this and goes to meet up with the terrorists. And it's here where it's revealed that he paid for Tony to get kidnapped and killed. What are y'all ranking this on the scale of hating? Are y'all putting him before Lex Luthor or after Lex Luthor? If you haven't seen the new Superman movie, you can't comment, I'm sorry. But Tony is such a goat that even a group of terrorists wasn't enough to take him out. That's why S.H.I.E.L.D. wanted to recruit him, because they know he was doing some different shit. But that's a story for another video. But Stain slimes out the terrorists and steals the Mark I so he can make his own knockoff brand cheap-ass Iron Man suit. Like, this shit was not clean, bruh. And just to show you how ass Stain was at making his own Iron Man suit, he couldn't even recreate the arc reactor with a team of his greatest inventors.
Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave with a box of scraps.
So what does he do? He pulls up on Tony and hits a devious lick on his brand new one. Just pulls it straight out of his chest, making some diabolical eye contact too. What type of timing is this man on?
Back up, gang, what's up? What type of timing you on, bro? You pissing me off already, bro. I ain't even get no words out, bro.
So he takes the arc reactor to his lame-ass, weak-ass suit, and Tony has to make it down to put his old one back in his chest before he fucking dies. So you already know, it's boxing time. So Tony pulls up, and with his old chest piece, he's going into the fight with only 48% power. He tackles Stain through the ground, through a wall, and through the semi-truck on the highway. Then Stain picks up this car with a completely innocent family in it, but Tony does this clean-ass sequence of activating his chest beam and blasting Stain out the way. He then catches the car and sets them down softly, and they kindly thank him by running his ass over. And thanks to all that, his suit is now reduced to 19%. So Stain jumps over to him, grabs another innocent person's bike, and smacks the shit out of Tony. He kicks him, picks him up over his head like he's trying to do a power clean, and throws him back down. He stomps on him, and then throws him into this bus. Then he blows the bus up with this big-ass missile. Got Tony flying up into the sky like he's a Happy Wheels character. But he flexed his ability to fly on him, not knowing Stain could fly too. So Iron Man decided to hit Stain with the height glitch. He knows it's not patched. But while he's flying up into the sky, Iron Man's suit is going down rapidly from 15% power to 7%, because this chest piece isn't for sustained flight. So Stain manages to catch Tony and starts gripping the fuck out of him. But the ice glitch worked, and his dumbass falls back down to Earth. Tony's suit is now on 2% and goes into the emergency backup power. This reminds me of Five Nights at Freddy's when you're on night 5 and it's 5 a.m. and that shit says 2%. You be sitting there praying. I'm playing all of them on my gaming channel, by the way. So Tony safely makes it back down, and he's ready to celebrate because it's all over, and starts taking off his suit. But Stain, now in phase 2 like he's an Elden Ring boss, pulls back up. Tony weaves and tries to blast him, but that shit don't work. He then catches a crazy ass left. Tony recovers and does a nice Superman punch, but Stain grabs him and bear hugs him. Tony manages to break out by using his flares and calls in a summon to help him out with a boss fight. So Pepper goes in and sets up basically a disintegration beam, and Iron Man tries to distract Stain by jumping on his back. Stain throws him off right into the blast zone, and he then shoots the glass, which almost makes Tony fall. But Tony tells Pepper to push the button anyways, and the beam blasts, and it short-circuits Stain's suit, causing him to die, and it ends the fight. I personally think that scene was plot armor, because Tony literally got hit directly by that shit. But oh well, who gives a fuck about what I think? But Tony survives and announces to the world that
I am Iron Man.
So after this video, I've now covered the first 3 movies of the MCU. Go watch them if you haven't. And that also means that we're one step closer to the Avengers movies. If y'all want me to do Captain America 1 and or Thor 1, let me know. And I'll do a poll on them later on. But unless y'all let me know, I'm gonna assume that y'all don't want me to do it. Anyways, thanks for 30K. Let's keep growing. Pause.